Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 7-Eleven Game Time Anytime series presented by the Gaming Stadium. We had an absolute banger best of three, and now it's time for our next one with Real and EX-SERENITY. I'm joined yet again with Keg. We were
Hi.
talking a little bit about this beforehand. I'm excited to see these two teams. What about you?
I really like both of these teams. I think through the tier 2 circuit, they've been able to put up a lot of great results. And now this X-Serenity, there have been a lot of X-Serenities, but this roster I feel like has been one of the best iterations of X-Serenity we have seen in a very long time. There have been talks that some of these players could eventually go on to that top level of play, and Sierra, I wouldn't be too surprised if we do see that within a year.
And being able to watch them now, if we're expecting to see that in a year, being able to cast these matches now, watch them as they rise up to that is going to be a lot of fun. And we already have the map picks as well. So we got to see, a couple of the more common ones in the last best of three. But to start this off, for real, actually going to pick over to Bind to start it off.
Yeah, Bind is going to be an interesting one. Hopefully, there we do get to see a raise that gets more than one kill. I think that would be great to see, but a lot of utility usage could go out there. I'm looking more towards those second and third maps when we get to them, or if we get to that third map. We have Haven to come out second, and then Sierra.
I already know what you're going to say.
We have Fracture as map 3.
I mean,
Oh,
that'll be a fun one for a map three, especially since I know the last time we casted together, we got to see a team that wasn't too familiar with Fracture. It was Serenity that did pick Fracture, so something that they're probably comfortable with. So it'll be interesting to see how For Real rises to that. If they're also comfortable with this pick, obviously they didn't ban it out, or how that's going to be determining this. The the matchmaking, the third match. You know what I'm trying to say here.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Let's see if we get down to that decider map. Just quickly looking at the stats before we get started, we do have a 50% win rate over the last 2 months from the side of X Serenity on Bind. Their team composition is really cool. I'm just looking really quick. It's a single duelist normally, but they do have the double initiator, double controller comp. Nothing too wild when it comes to Bind because you don't really necessarily need too many sentinels on that map just because of how close the angles are and how generally it's pretty easy to just go for a fast execute.
Yeah, and Raise on Icebox, not something we see too often, but Raise on Bind, that's where we get to see a lot of fun. So I'm
Yes.
excited to hopefully see that come out for at least one of these teams, if not both. Obviously, it is a bit more of a common pick there. What else, though, are you excited to see? I know that you know a bit more about these teams. I know you're looking at the stats beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, the stats I think are going to be generally a bit of a point of interest. I mean, just looking at again, there's a double duelist comp that's typically played out from for real when it comes to Bind as well, but their win rate percentage is significantly lower. It's not by a huge margin. The team in the last 2 months have only played Bind on 3 times, but they've only won it once. And they've also played Yoru on that map. So
I mean, I feel like you're a doubter. If they haven't had too many opportunities to play it, yeah, they've only won once, but that's one out of three. And it
yeah,
sounds,
that's not it's not a big sample size, but because
yeah,
they have a Euro, I have to say it's probably going to be a 13-0.
that is a,
14-0.
okay, I know you can't do math, but come on, man. Come on.
I mean, you just get an extra round because there's a Euro on the enemy team.
Yeah,
Duh, everyone
okay.
knows that.
Yeah, okay, okay. I would be excited to see a Yoru come out here, especially since we've talked about it so much earlier on. I don't know necessarily. We do have a little bit of time. We're just waiting on one more individual to be getting into this lobby. But with a 1 out of 3 sample size for games, it'll be interesting to see how this pans out because that's a losing percentage. But I don't really want to count that so far going into this.
To be fair though, for X Serenity, their sample size is 4 maps at 50%. So it's really not that big of a difference, but that's over just 2 months. If you look historically, it's a lot larger, but there's a lot of different things that can change, like X Serenity actually becoming X Serenity and not Serenity Black, or even just a bunch of roster changes. So you don't want to factor in historically the entire team's history of a win percentage. So it's like you have to go for a smaller margin of like maybe a month or 2 months, just in case there have been those really significant changes.
No, and like I feel like that's completely valid. But I'm gonna skip over Haven. Like that's gonna be the map too. I want to talk a bit about Fracture as we're waiting because this is going to be a speculation map. I feel like there's
Ooh.
still kind of like a developing meta around that, and I'm excited to see what can come out of that, especially if for real isn't quite as comfortable with that. Do you have any predictions going into this?
I think there's a lot of hypothetical team comps that work out well for Fracture, but they deviate so far away from what we're used to in Valorant. It's so hard to say which team could come out on top. I think X-Serenity does edge it out a little bit more just because they go for a little bit more of a utility information-based comp. And from what we've seen from For Real in the past has been a little bit more gunfight, going for those kills, really taking the duelist name to heart kind of style. But the hypothetical comp that we've been seeing on a lot of teams on Fracture does lean towards, Breach, Killjoy. I think even a Cypher as well. A little bit of duelist presence as well, but a lot of it is just running and gunning onto the site. I do think though, just because the utility is there, it might sound like it's going to be for extra entity, but for real is definitely going to have a bit of a stay into the map as well. I don't think it's going to be a blow away like we've seen before.
Yeah, it'll be interesting too, especially with the utility. I know in the Fracture announcement video, being able to see the plays that were set up with the utility was really cool, but it isn't something that I've gotten to witness as much, both observing and playing the map. So if, Extra Grenady is maybe practice this, maybe has some strats going into this. It could be really interesting to see what they've come up with because I still feel like there's so much. This is brand new into the pool. There's so much room to be kind of building stuff up. You practice this a little bit, you get some really cool things going.
Oh, absolutely. And I think Killjoy is a really interesting marker onto the map as well because she can go on the undercarriage. I don't know what it's called yet, but you can go underneath B site, go for the lockdown, and literally no utility or guns in the game can stop it except for an Odin, an Ares, and Breach's Aftershock. And that's why we see a lot of Breaches being put into play as the primary initiator for a map that generally might need a little bit more info, but you have to prioritize just getting onto the site.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you said there wasn't a name for the underpart. We can just coin a name right here. Base.
Underbelly.
Okay, I don't know if I like that. Underbelly at the beginning. I don't know. I was gonna say basement. I guess that's also kind of lame.
It's not a basement. It's all grass and dirt. What?
But
There's
it's
no doors.
lower.
Yeah, you could call it lower, but that's boring.
Yeah, that is kind of boring, isn't it? I saw like underbelly. I'm imagining a dragon perched on top. Like I don't.
That's cool. I mean, it kind of like a dragon on top when you have so many defenders there hoarding the gold. Could be your prize money if you start losing those rounds.
Okay, now I think you're just stretching a little bit. I'm sure we'll come up if somebody hasn't come up with something. I'm sure sometime during the match, one of us is going to call out something dumb, and we're like, you know what? We're going to take to this. I think this will be actually, the name of it, and we can run off of that.
I'm consulting the internet
Your result right now,
right now.
right
It
now.
is. It is called. Do I agree with that? No, there really isn't a name for it because it's underneath. I guess it would be
Underneath
under generator. It'd be under gen, I guess.
under generator. That okay? That's a little bit wordy. I'm sure we can. I'm sure we could actually find something to be,
Low gen.
lower gen. I don't,
Logan. We can call it Logan.
no, okay, no, no, no. Now we're stretching a little too far here, but I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see how that turns out. The teams are still getting ready. We're still waiting. Maybe they're
Yeah,
all
they're
out
waking up.
there. Yeah, maybe they're out there googling what they want to be calling these spots on Fracture too. There's a lot of spots on Fracture, so I'm not too surprised. We'll take time
Yeah,
as a
they're
community to figure out all of these names.
they're getting up. They're brushing their teeth at I mean, for me it's 4:50 p.m. I think for you it's like midnight
It's
something. I don't.
it's dinner time. I need them to hurry up.
Canadians
I
go by
have my
different times.
sandwich back here. It is half eaten. It is definitely cold. Come on, y'all, hurry up. Throw me a little bone here. But I just want to say thanks again to 7-Eleven. I mean, we both got deliveries early on, got a couple of, groceries, and that's all thanks to the 7 Now app. So if anyone else is, chilling with us through this break, feel free to download it. Downloading it, you do get free delivery and a free slushie off of your first couple of orders. So definitely one of those things right up above. Thank you. Thank you, production. That is your opportunity to be grabbing it. Get yourself a little bit of a snack and a drink while waiting for these teams to be, setting up.
Yeah, while we're waiting, I'm gonna tell my 7-Eleven story. So back when I lived with my parents, like when I was younger and stuff, every July 11th, 7-Eleven, the 7-Eleven, I think across the U.S., I'm not too sure, at least the one near my parents' house, they would give out like free gallons of Slurpees or something like along those lines. But my family and I, we would treat that like Christmas or like a holiday. We would go there, each one of us in the family would try to go and get like a gallon or however monstrously big of a size the Slurpees would be, and then we go home and watch Shark Week. We take the days off if we had to work or something just for the 7-Eleven Slurpees, and I don't know, it's one of those childhood memories that always kind of sticks with you.
They got to make that a national holiday because, like, I know we were talking about this in like the theoretical virtual green room, and like, I'm jealous. I'm sure we like took advantage of the free Slurpees. We didn't make a holiday out of it. Like, I would have loved to sit there, drink my Slurpee. You can get the blue raspberry, throw a couple of like
That's what I
the
have.
fish gummies in there to really be semblance of a Shark Week. I know the look on your face, like that's not something that's crossed your mind whatsoever. Feel like you missed out a
7-Eleven gave
little
me
bit.
Sour Patch Kids. We could do it right now.
Okay, no, don't.
Why?
Oh, okay, 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 fine. You do it. You do you. You do you.
Watch out for the splashback. It might hit you.
Okay. You're no.
Thousands of
Keg.
miles away.
Keg. No. Why?
Why? Do you remember those old like academy, not academy, like science experiment kits you could do when you were younger? Like they'll give you like a
Oh.
little sample size of plutonium and you can make like gummies and stuff. I don't know. I never had one of
What?
them. But that's what it
Okay.
reminds me of.
I never had one either. The closest I got to that was actual like high school
Oh, an
science
actual
class
science
when we
kit.
got to like blow things up, but never made like gummies.
I put Sour Patch Kids in what's left of the Slurpee.
Oh my
I'm
god.
not I my dentist is gonna love me.
Yeah, that sounds disastrous. I can see production too talking about the cat in the background. He's good about to take a little cat nap, waiting for this, waiting for everybody to be getting settled in. I think the longest, had to riff off it a little bit at this beginning here, because of course, not gonna throw to anything. But I guess we
And a
didn't
little spoon.
and a little spoon. So am I just gonna monologue here as you enjoy your Sour Patch Kids in your slush
Do you
in
want me
your
to
Slurpee?
monologue? I
No.
can monologue.
I was gonna talk about like Haven. We
Hmm.
saw a good match
That
about
that is a
that.
map.
That's yep, that is a map. We talked about bind, we talked about fracture, but for real, Serenity, we didn't really necessarily talk about Haven. And I know you got the stats, you got the websites.
I do have the stats. So, I mean, for real, when it comes to the stats of Haven, it's the same exact thing. Last 2 months, from the beginning of September, 50% 4 maps played on site of Haven. Something interesting though, and we're seeing a lot more teams go through this. I think Cloud9 in the recent LCQ has popularized this a lot more. But even before that, if you want to look at 100 Thieves bring out KO on Ascent, I think, against Haven Liberty, a lot of teams now are playing a lot more KO. And that's something that we're seeing here, or could potentially see on Haven as well from For Real, is a great KO pick instead of a Sky. And one thing that's interesting, and this hasn't been officially confirmed yet, but there are rumors that Sky could be getting a little bit more of a nerf when Chamber comes out. So
Mm.
it's going to be an interesting dichotomy to see where KO is going to fit in the meta going forwards. So I think a lot of these teams right now are just trying to try him out in an official series just to see if it works out well. And so
Mhm.
far, I've loved KO
Yeah.
at every level of play.
Oh yeah, being able to watch players navigate KO and just like the team comps with it, I feel like there's a fantastic kit. We got to see that in our first best of three. We're talking about agents though, and we're gonna get into this agents like finally some content for you all at home as we are, to reiterate, going back into bind for our first match against Faux Real versus Serenity. There is that Sky we were talking about. Is like Sky KO. It's going to be a Sky at least for real here.
Yes, absolutely. Now, we do see a highlighted Yoru as well. I wouldn't be too surprised out of any map in this game if we see that Yoru lock in. Just because of the great rotate potential that's already existing on side of Bind, you exasperate that a lot with the Yoru pick. And I believe on Flickbaiters, Ethos does the same exact thing with his Euro pick as well, but it's really more of a
Select your agent.
stylistic choice.
Yeah, I don't, we can't be taunted two best of threes in a row with this Euro pick.
Wait,
So as the
it,
time goes down, I'm kind of eyeing this up. If this is going to be locked in, there's
I think.
oh, we're gonna see it.
Ah!
We're gonna see a Euro going over to Bind. This is super exciting. But I just want to look back over to Serenity here for a second. No raise. Only duelist going to be this Jet here. What do we think about this comp?
Yeah, I mean, this is the comp that they've been running for a little while now. Double controller, double initiator, no sentinel. I think this comp is perfectly fine. I think a lot of line of sight denial potential coming out from the Astra and the Viper for both teams. But the double information to be gained from both the Sky and the Sova is unbelievably important to not only create space, if it's like something like the Owl drone or the Trailblazer, but it's also really important to gain information as well. And because we talked about the rotates, and with someone like Yoru being on the enemy team, someone like Sky Seekers are going to work unbelievably well to help counter the double duelists that are being brought out here.
Definitely. I'm excited too that we get to see a raise here for real. I'm excited to actually just about both of the duelists on that side. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just thinking of these cool zero plays that we could potentially see here.
I'm a little curious to see how For Real's initiation's gonna go, because they can quickly execute onto a site with Sky, with Yoru, with Raze, but they have to be able to do it, because it takes a lot of dedication and utility for any of those agents to really get themselves onto a site, as opposed to like a Jet who can just dash in. But right away, Dopai still waiting for anyone to poke around Brown Box. No one's gonna be there, but this allows a little bit more time for EX-SERENITY to supposedly rotate to A.
I mean, being quiet over on B. There was 3 posted up for EX-SERENITY over on B, but they're gonna at least one rotate off, and Yoru a little flash shoot out the teleporter though. Nobody gonna fall for it though, but look at that nice little pick onto the site as they're finally going to be going for that push. 3 on the rotate over from A, but for real, able to at least get the spike planted, get onto the site, and they were kind of low on health here, but that's what the Sky's for, right?
Little on health, a 3v4 though. Line of sight denied from both different sides of both entry points for the post plant.
Here it is. Line of sight denied. Try and, get halfway on the defuse, but not going to be too much luck. Look at that. Yoru doing Yoru things. Going to be getting a kill, getting out of there, being able to take one, but it's going to go in the way of For Real here on the pistol round.
Absolutely. Went really well for the initiation. Overall, kind of just baiting out Serenity, really running down that timer, ensuring that there could be at least one rotate. Of course, For Real had no idea how many had actually rotated onto the site, but once Astra got her utility down with the Nebulas, it was really easy to kind of choke out the spacing from anyone on Serenity's defense inside of B. They were forced to go out of their comfortable positions, take the gunfights, and ultimately lose them in a 1vx. But now that Viper Wall goes down, this is an aggressive next round.
Oh, this is already so aggressive right out of the gate. Look, just chilling on the other side of the wall and so patiently. You know there's stuff on the other side, but just gonna be holding this angle there. That threw it.
Player standing.
They almost got away with that. They pushed through. Just playing quietly, but caught out from the other angle. Going to be going down, but it was sneaky while it lasted.
No, and that's definitely not a round designed for EX-SERENITY to win. We need a better way of saying EX-SERENITY. I have a hard time saying S's sometimes. EX-SEREN. Nah, that doesn't help. Overall, no matter what, EX-SERENITY, that was not a round designed for them to win. This is the bonus buy now for Real, and this is the full rifle round for EX-SERENITY's side. This is going to be a really important round. They have a little bit more utility to work with, but they need to take their time with it. Problem is, taking their time allows to what happened on pistol round, where For Real just kind of collapsed onto the site.
Definitely. Right away, there's going to be a little bit of information through B long, pushing up towards there. Going to be hiding in this corner here, so on the other side for that cross angle. You see Bobo at the bottom there, trying to bait something out there. Not necessarily going to be catching anyone off guard right out of the gate. Kapai, hold up in hookah here, just waiting for this wall to drop.
Drops.
Oh, the blinded call was there, but Adder gonna look away, giving a free kill for Defy there. They're going to be going down right after. Now at this point, Jet just being able to have a power position here. Gonna be even getting more of one. Hold out outside of Garden. Dimensional Drift. It's gonna be pushing them back. Trying to, you know, cover for this Yoru. Gaining so much ground here onto this site, and man, this has been a treat so far.
This has been a wild ride just to watch Yoru alone go through all of this. 1 kill to go by from player, Coinberg to go down. Still 3 more to deal with. 1 blindside already used by the Yoru. He has available for the flank watch.
At this point, just holding these angles to bait the defuse a little bit here. It's utility to try and catch someone out peeking in Garden. Camila as well. Going to at least... Did I get halfway? That was real close. Off that. Trying to debate it. 1 remaining. Able to take 1 out. Trying to go for that right click around the corner. Unable to quite get that, though, with Real being able to get a 3rd on the board.
A bit of a tunnel vision there from player. Could have just baited out the spike audio cue over and over again. Tried to make Mac go and take the strafe shot or the dry peek, and didn't quite happen. Instead, they just wanted the full ace. So I guess, you know, you give some, you take some. Player has done a fantastic job so far, finding a lot of these entry kills, or just even frags in general. Problem is, though, getting those kills on the board hasn't really been EX-SERENITY's strength as a whole of a team. But we've only seen 3 rounds, and one of those was the full buy from their own side. But now they're back to a sheriff round again because they weren't able to win the round they were designed to.
Sheriffs, but player also does have access to this Blade Storm. Is going to be playing this aggressive, trying to catch someone out, and is going to find at least 1, though, by able to be trading that back just as quickly as it happens. Not wanting EX-SERENITY to get any ground there. They get to be able to push on to A now. You know, Viper just doing Viper things here. You got Viper Cloud. You can do what you want here. Set up, though, EX-SERENITY. Sova with only like 1 health to his name is not going to be able to do too much of this retake.
No, not too much. Barely even any health. It's Dopeye to take them down 4 in a row for real. Now, something we didn't mention in the pre-show is that For Real is technically ranked number 51 in North America. And so they're a pretty good team. They have a lot of history already. And so EX-SERENITY, a team without that much prestige, well, not as much prestige, I should say, goes for the timeout here, and I think this is a good call to make. Something For Real is doing is pretty simple. They're just running and gunning their way onto a site, taking advantage of the fact that they have at least 2 different blinds, spacing utility from the paint grenades. It's a tough ordeal for EX-SERENITY, but maybe one thing they could try to do after this timeout is play for full retake. They have the Viper utility to do it. They have 2 different lines of sight denial with both the Astro Nebulas and the Cloudburst of Jet. They have a lot at their disposal to work with here, but they have to just not go for the gunfights.
Yeah, the gunfights haven't necessarily been in their way so far, but being able to use that utility, especially on a map as small as Bind, and having, you know, fantastic agents to be working with. I'm looking at the Sova in the sky here, and the Astra, actually, and the Viper, all of them. I shouldn't have even started listing them. I should have just said all of them from the beginning. But that utility, I feel like, could be so useful in a retake, being able to deny this line of sight, being able to get that information pushing onto site, especially with Sky with the Seekers at her disposal now. So that could be something for them to look at here, especially now that they have full buys again.
Yeah, and these full bike rounds are going to be really important for a team that's already down 4. I did like when the timeout came underway. We've seen some teams go for much later ones.
Ooh, playing aggressive. They're trying to get on the other side of the gravitational well there, but going to be called out and forced to back up. And look at that. Not scared of the offer whatsoever, but we're going to be getting a fantastic pick onto site. And it doesn't stop there. They're just pushing onto site, you know. Full aggression here, and it's just working so well as the Seekers come out to make this even more difficult. Serenity, and yet again, in a position where they have to do a retake at an advantage with a Cosmic Divide up as well.
I like this Cosmic Divide. It's going to make things very difficult for these defenders to get past into elbow and CT. Allows a lot more elbow control that we see on the Real Sky. Ico, though, and the rest of the defenders unable to work their way from the CT side because they weren't there in the first place to begin with. They're all inside of Hookah.
Well, one inside, the other just holding the angle out at this point. Just looking to try and take someone down with you. Not going to be too successful for Adder. Echo did at least have an angle, but is just going to be playing it a little more safe. Keep the gun here as it goes into 5-0 in favor of Real.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the big change that EX-SERENITY had made the call timeout for was. I did feel like they tried to play a little bit slower going into the post plant, maybe trying to rotate around, but something along the lines didn't quite work out the way they had hoped, and for Real were able to just push their way onto the site, get the plant down. Maybe the Cosmic Divide was the big excruciating factor in the way, but this is another broken buy from EX-SERENITY. They do have player with the shorty. That could be really good to hold a very tight angle, but these lineups from Mac, the whole entry from both the Yoru and the Ray is unbelievable. This Viper wall, so good for the defense, though. At least allows a little bit less control for showers for the attacking team.
One way as well, gonna make it a little bit more difficult for Real to be pushing up here. They go holding that angle outside of lamps. Wall showers, though, going to be going down. Look at that angle that player has. I'm excited to see how that pans out. That could be such a free gun for him if given the opportunity. Look at that. But instead, Mac going to be getting the 2 kills here in the Viper Pit as they keep pushing onto A. And look at that. We see it on the kill feed. Player was successful in that shorty kill. Let's go. But probably not going to be enough here. Does get a gun, at least on the save, but one against the world in a Viper's Pit, not able to do much with it.
A really rough round for EX-SERENITY. They had control of showers towards the end of the round, and that was just about it. The Viper's Pit comes down inside of U-Haul, ensures that no rotation value is there. Of course, with the attacking Viper wall right next to Truck as well. Yeah, there was a little bit of dice control that could have been gained from EX-SERENITY for the post plant to play safer. Problem is, though, is that their own Viper wall made sure that the line of sight wasn't there either. So now again, double Viper walls go down on side of A site. That makes B a little bit more naked, but that also allows a team like For Real, who's been a lot better about winning these gunfights, to have a little bit more breathing room to take the long-range engagement.
Oh, for sure. This time around, though, Real playing it a little slower. Seekers will at least give out a bit of information that Dubai was, starting to poke up through Hookah, trying to peek up towards this. Other than that, though, just playing it real nice and slow here, waiting for someone from Serenity. They get a little antsy and push up too far.
Yeah, this is a great change of pace from For Real. EX-SERENITY, they could take this ball and run with it if they want to play a little bit more aggressive. They have before, but it was mostly on other save rounds. This time it's a full buy, and they know what's at stake.
Ooh, the Boombot at least gonna call out one, but at least being able to slide in the corner, utility used to keep advantage of that. Everyone pulling off from B, though, gonna be pushing through A with Euro leading the charge, being able to at least get that information with that dimensional drift here, even further onto site. Showstopper coming out as well. Love to see it with the raise, but unable to at least connect with anything here. Or before at least going into this retake, Serenity having the even numbers to get an opportunity here if they could be pushing out onto this site. Look at this, so much utility being used, though, to deny them any opportunity. Adder, though, on the flank, at least able to find one. It is up in heaven. Gonna make this a little more difficult. But
gotta save the op here.
Gotta save the op. Adder going down makes this this is an impossible retake here for player.
Yeah, this has not been a good one. Look at where the blue X's are on the minimap. Some were close to the site, others were not. Some were attempted flanks, didn't quite work out the way they had hoped either. And a lot of them have had no trade potential whatsoever. Look at the blue X right by the teleporter, right? It's going to go away in a few seconds, but there's not really much nearby in terms of, bodies to go down, except for maybe one red X, but it's hard to say whether or not that was due to a trade. And now, another save round, right? This is going to be a save round with player instead having their op to work with. They have to play really aggressive with this, or the entirety of EX-SERENITY needs to play aggressive off of player's op in the back of a site. There's no easy way to go through this round.
No, you feel like you say no easy way to go through this round. I feel like it's been no easy way for any of these rounds. So,
Oh, you
like,
have to do them like that.
I mean, Horrell's just had a really strong showing. It's not to say anything negative about Serenity, but for real, just being able to have this aggression and push out, especially with the double duelists at their disposal, just being able to always get these picks. There it is, Mac with the opening pick right out of the gate, just putting so much pressure on, and that pressure going back towards A. Look at this. Look at all this paper utility to just really take full control of this site. Serenity without a full buy is going to be even more difficult. Here it is, Avo going down at Sheriff in hand, back into a 2v5 situation. And like, this utility, it's hard for them to even get back onto site after they lose it.
And did you notice that aggression we talked about at the beginning of the round? Player was the first one on EX-SERENITY to go down. The op completely lost. Any sort of entry that could have been made by For Real could have been stopped by player's op, but just simply wasn't. And what's wild is that I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong here, I don't feel like we've seen really any sort of initiative utility to be used onto a site other than maybe like Astra's util. Did we see any Yoru blinds? Like his blind sides? Not really. Blast packs? No. It's just pure gunfights.
Yeah, just the rushing out. You deny a couple line of sights and you win the fights where you know they can't see you, and that's just been going so well for them. It's gonna be a little chase for Adder as well, though. He's trying so hard to keep a hold of that Vandal. Is going to at least keep it, but gosh, this hurts. At least they have the buys to try and make this fight even. Almost. There's gonna be a judge here over on player, but this is a difficult one for EX-SERENITY.
Oh, I do like where this judge could be played, though. They're going to play right below Hookah, wait for that Nebula to go down, whether that be their own or For Reals, and then wait for that aggressive push to go down from the top of Hookah. Problem is, though, with this plan is that I feel like we haven't really seen much aggressive Hookah play from For Real's side. But given what we're seeing right now on the screen, I think that could change very quickly with this raise.
Oh, the aggressive Hookah play. They don't know this, but of course that's playing right into what player wants. They're sitting there with the judge. Is going to back up as that util is going to try and clear that out a little bit. Unsure. Oh, was caught out from Sky, so can't even hold that angle that he would like to. But, you know, going to go back into it. Nobody's there, though. They're going back to A.
This makes a lot of sense. I do like this play. Info was gained on both sides, but look at this. There's only one there. Oh, no.
I was going to say, I love this Viper utility too, you know? The Cloud coming down. Oh, Nick with a nice little pop around the corner. I was about to say, the Cloud going down, pick it up, throw it somewhere else, and just keep tossing it like a hot potato. But finally, EX-SERENITY. Hunter's Fury comes out, doesn't make too much of an impact, but the 2 kills from Shower having all the difference in the world. Spike is planted, but this is a much more manageable retake here. And information, you know that they're sandwiched and cornered into lamps right now. Go for the defuse, but the blind gonna be catching Bobo through the Viper wall as Mac is stuck in lamps. Everyone looking this way. Spike's defuse does get a kill on the way down, but EX-SERENITY finally on this board.
Really good job from EX-SERENITY, holding those angles, going for the appropriate rotate when they needed to. For Real played directly into all the little mini traps that we saw EX-SERENITY bring out. And I think player playing off, or in theory would have played off the gravity well outside of Hookah, was a great way to kind of point and tell that, hey, this is a little late into the round. It's like 20 seconds in, and we haven't seen For Real yet. I think we should go A. I think that call, I'm not sure who the IGL is, but whoever made that call, I think did an impressive job with it. But now look at the response from For Real. It's a default. And, oh, hi, hello, it's Bonovo instead to find player 1.
Ooh, I love that. Get the pick over on Showers, take player down, take that op out of their arsenal, and then just use an ability to go join your team over on B. There is 3 of them holding it down, though. Viper's Pit as well, gonna make it even more difficult. So, you know, let's just go back to A. I mean, I feel like this every round, just go back to A, but you've got to use all that utility. Make the other team use EX-SERENITY, use all the utility over there. Now there's only one person to take down to get control of this A site.
Take control. Again, the rotate comes through on A once again.
Mac being able to push successfully through lamps. There is going to be a cosmic divide coming out as well. This was already going to be a difficult retake, even more difficult, but Adder popping around the corner is going to be good for at least one.
Falls down.
And has the ability to get a little bit more information here. You can see Mac just holding that angle, pops around, can't see it, but Mac able to take down Adder none the less. Only 2 left, EX-SERENITY. They are putting in some work, but time is running out. But with that op, able to find another one, and it's just down to a 2v1 situation. The angles are held. The wall does get to go up, but in a 2v1 situation in no time, another one for real.
Pretty good eco damage though against For Real, but at the point where there's an 8-round differential, it's a little hard to say that it's gonna have that much impact. I mean, some of the players are coming close to maxing out. Look at Dopai, still full armor, full utility, 7,200 credits. I'm pretty sure they would max out if they win this next round. And so, economy, not an issue at all for Real right now. Certainly not the same thing that can be said for EX-SERENITY. I do like what player 1 is doing. They're going to forego their weapon, buy for somebody else, and try to get an orb maybe on A, or no, in showers, I see, in order to get the knives.
Yeah, if they can, but look at that. The other end,
Oh,
there's
no.
so much pressure.
They read into it.
Oh man, there's so much pressure on A. Normally, you know, kind of fix towards B, but instead pushing up towards short, pushing up towards shower. No blade storm for player this time around. At least Echo is able to get a nice pick here over in A short to at least hold them off a little bit. Being able to go for the snake bite to push them down even further, as at this point, Real gonna be, you know, backing up a little bit.
So this is interesting. Ico stalling out the attack right now. This could be the orb opportunity for EX-SERENITY. Yes, it is. And now the knives have come out. We could see teleporter or a full rotate again from player. Still, that spike hasn't been dedicated yet. Slowly making their way towards A short could be a way to go, but this jet is effectively unknown. They know that it was just picked up by the orb on B long, maybe, but right now they could be tunnel visioning their info onto A as well. This is still a complete unknown, but at least it's a little bit more leverage EX-SERENITY has going into what could be the post plant in 30 seconds.
You know, only 30 seconds left. Much utility coming out by trying to peek out through showers as the rest looking towards A short. Adder in the corner though is good for at least one before going down. But look at this, the hold onto Sate was so great there. Serenity with another on the board, trying to get this into at least a 9-3 before the swap.
All that setup for the knives just to bring them out and never use them at all. That is really unfortunate, but a good round for EX-SERENITY at the very least. Just, I bet players wishing they had the knives.
I mean, you got the knife. Like, your team won the round.
It was a good backup plan.
You don't need your knives if the rest of your team is going to be winning the round for you, you know?
Yeah, that was a really, really good defensive hold on A site. And for real, their big issue on their attack sometimes is that they just wait too long to go for the plant. There's so much hesitancy. Look at that. Boombot comes by. Ico destroys it. There's a body now known for real inside. And it has to be Ico on the Viper.
Yeah, a lot of utility and get out. The Astro utility there. The nades in the corner. Go force, you know, move a little bit. You don't want to be going down to those paint shells in the corner. You at least want to take someone out. But if I able to get that kill, follow up with a second one onto player here. The hold onto Hookah. But look at this. Ovo already on site here. Seekers will come out to at least reveal that. But Serenity, 2 of them are stuck up in Hookah.
That's right, they're stuck in Hookah right now. Great way for the post plant, but the Viper's pick comes down instead. All that elevation that the defenders had positioned themselves for, no longer available.
And at this point, too, the snakebite and Hookah, they know where they are, and just being able to spray through this Viper's pit, being able to find another kill here. It is last round, so, you know, might as well go for it, but look at this. Higher ground not going to matter this time around as everyone is spraying bullets in your way.
Jeez, 10-2 again. We have seen this one before, I believe.
Switching sides.
It was on Icebox in the previous series. Hopefully, though, some better results this time around. This could be an attacker-sided team as well. We talked about in the pre-show that EX-SERENITY's agent comp is a lot more standard for a lot of the upper-level teams that we normally see. They have the double controller for the line of sight denial, just like For Real has. They have the double information, though, with the extra added Sova, and post-plant denial, too, with the Hunter's Fury. That's something For Real doesn't have. But one thing on the defense that For Real has that EX-SERENITY doesn't is extra mobility. And I'm looking at that Yoru to really make some flanking plays.
I mean, I feel like that's what Euro is good for, you know, just those cheeky little flank plays. So I'm excited to see on the defensive end how that is going to be panning out. A little bit more of a default, though. There's going to be a little bit of a more aggressive push up into showers. Get a little bit of information for on B, but look at this. Aggressive defense here, but we're going to be pushing up midsection. That Boba, no clue. Looking towards there, but this frenzy could be devastating if he decides to be pushing through this. Oh, there it is. The back of the head was right there. Joe would survive for a second, but just going to be chased down right after. This pistol needs to go in the way of EX-SERENITY here, or else this match is going to be almost as good as done, but rough right out of the gate here. Are going to be able to at least push on to A site. It's going to be a full four for this retake here. Their angles are shut down, but For Real has been winning these gunfights, and they have utility to their name to be pushing out, make this pushing on to site even easier.
Bob doesn't have any utility to push through inside of U-Haul, though there are different players that back themselves up. One frag to go down, but another no trade potentially to be seen. Adder with a double kill on the goes to find all of that U-Haul control.
Yeah, and there it is. It's going to be down to just Colbert against 3. That was a pistol round. EX-SERENITY needed to win, and they got it.
One really small interaction I noticed on the minimap was that Nick was distracted by Yoru's footprints being sent in for the B teleport all the way to A. And so through the Viper wall, you actually see Astra at the bottom of H4 looking around to see where those footsteps are coming from and who went through that TP. And that, well, it didn't really have that much impact ultimately. It was a great opportunity to have that decision, or have For Real have one less body to work about as they pushed on to A site. But overall, really nice double kill, especially from Adder. I felt like that was the winning play for the round.
Oh, definitely. A nice little angle there, but nobody peeking B main means it's not going to do too much. Instead, but we're looking to be aggressive towards A short. It's going to be panning out. A nice little opening pick there, as now they're just being forced to rotate off. Look at them there, like a little pack of wolves through A short. As a team, you're the only one over on B site. Will be going down, but the rest of the team, you know, fanning out to be going back towards B site.
Double into teleports now. An Astra Star is placed. Hasn't turned into a Nebula or a Gravity Well just yet. The Trailblazer's going to come by, and oh my lord, Joba really putting themselves on the scoreboard now.
Oh yeah, I mean, such a fantastic angle to hold, especially when you've got guns. You've got a Spectre. Why not use it? Make them push into you. And here it is, Hookah for the last member of the team, going into a 4-10 here.
4 and 10, looking good for EX-SERENITY so far. Again, I feel like their agent composition's a lot more set up for the attack. Both of these teams lack a Sentinel at any level, and you don't necessarily need a Sentinel on Bind compared to a lot of other maps, but in terms of slowing down the play or stalling how the attackers can go through, it's really starting to show face how important it is then to use that Astra and Viper utility to really play against the lack of line of sight.
Oh, definitely. Starting off, EX-SERENITY looking back towards A, as there's the one little lurk towards B, you know, try and catch someone out, be able to clear showers. Have a look out, going up, make it at least a bit more difficult. Boombot at least calling out the player has been pushing out. There it is, being able to at least push out, get some kills, and just try and take control of the site. SERENITY has been having a field day on the attacking end so far.
Spike planted.
Berg does have a little bit of a flank here, so it's possible to be pinching Real Heal a little bit. Sorry, to pinch Serenity here a little bit, but going to be a difficult one with a severe number disadvantage.
Severe number disadvantage. The push out, though, not going to reign
Ooh.
true. One more in showers, though. Guiding Light could come by. No, the dry peek from player instead. It's only going to leave Mac left alive. They have the Phantom. They have 6 rounds to play with. They could just go in and try to find exits and maybe sacrifice their life, but I think saving the Phantom might be the best course of action here, just to keep their economy a little bit more afloat.
Yeah, and exits won't be what's going to happen this time around. Everyone else going out the other way. So Mac unable to get a kill, but at least does keep, you know, a nice little gun to their name. Real has taken some L's here, but they are still at a good advantage in the amount of rounds that they've won, even if they're going to be forced into a light buy, or just, I mean, I guess more of the same with these sheriffs into the next round.
Absolutely. Mac could definitely throw their Phantom down to Dopai, or, well, I guess Mac is the second top fragger on the board. It makes sense for them to keep it. But a lot of adjustments happening on For Real's side. A little bit more aggression towards A main, it looks like this round. Pop Flash Guiding Light comes by, allows them to get a little bit more of a wide swing angle in case anyone, like player, pushes up. Now it's a double pinch. Cobra goes in for the strafe shot. Bovo can go in for the wide swing. That Owl Drone's going to reveal the entire plot, though.
Ooh, over A short. Mac had pushed up, but Adder is able to be picking that up, picking up the kill. Flash coming out from the Yoru. Not going to be too much effect, though. You know one's in the corner as well. Flash coming out. Unable to get the kill onto player, but at least damaging and forcing him to be backing up. Berg very quickly finding themselves in a position of being last alive, as they know where he is. At this point, A is absolutely free.
Absolutely. Now, Kurlberg could go for the teleporter. That would directly give away their location. Not a lot of utility in their disposal, though. It seems like they'll may not have 100% of an idea now that time has gone by. This was a save round, though, to start things off, except for Mac, who did have the Phantom. Everyone else in EX-SERENITY have been building up their economy, and they haven't lost a single round in this second half yet.
They have not, and probably not going to lose this one either. I mean, insane clutches can happen, but having to push through, you know, this cloud, all your health decaying. At this point, just go for a cheeky little exit here. Though everyone else still popping out the other way, so I guess it's just a free gun for you this time, Coburg.
2 rounds in a row now. Free Phantom to stave off some economic deficit going into the next round, but still, it's not looking great for real. But again, we've seen a lot of aggression towards B. For me, when I look at the minimap at the beginning of the round, and I like this call for the timeout, it feels like a lot of utility is being dedicated at the beginning of a round where For Real just has no information and just kind of guessing where they think EX-SERENITY are going to push. A few rounds ago, I think it was the first rifle round we saw in the second half, I think Mac put down the Viper wall on side of Hookah, expecting EX-SERENITY to push into B, but they completely ignored B entirely and went for A instead. So either EX-SERENITY are playing around where that defensive Viper wall is going to go down, which very well could be a possibility, Sierra. But what I also think is important is that For Real are taking a little bit of their... Well, I'm sorry. For Real were putting down their wall. Excuse me. And EX-SERENITY were waiting to see where that utility and walls were going to go down, and then rotating off from that.
Yeah, and just the way that they're able to, you know, recognize where this utility is, where, you know, they don't want to be pushing through and just go to the other site. It's just been so good, especially in making up this round difference here. Be interesting to see if For Real starts to, you know, switch things up after a timeout. You never want to use a timeout and not have a nice little adjustment after it, but it could just be the momentum they need. They're only 3 rounds away from securing this, but EX-SERENITY has been on a tear to be clawing their way back into this.
Curious to see what adjustments can be made from For Real now. There's a lot they could do. Look at those pre-placed Astra Stars really towards mid again. Could easily be dissipates as well. EX-SERENITY are defaulting here. They haven't found where they want to dedicate just yet. Viper Wall's down in showers though. There is a setup for at least one. That orb for Serenity can't be grabbed too easily, and the opening shots from Mac have tracers, so Adder knows there's one nearby. But now there's 2 bodies, all ganging up on showers, it feels. The Astra and Viper are in trouble.
Well, going back up though, gonna make the push a little more difficult. You can't have showers freely. A snakebite coming out as well to dissuade any sort of push as the rest of Serenity looking towards the A short. There was no dedication at first, but now, even without a pick, looking towards that A site. Is an aggressive angle there. Player able to be getting at least one kill to start it off though. Two with a nice little dash onto site. Gonna play this aggressive, try and catch anyone pushing back out onto site as the plant starts to go down.
Into the post plant now, 2 left alive again. We've seen this situation so many times. Not enough bodies are stacked up on side of A, and Dopai is forced to check every angle possible, but all it takes is a single solo drone to detect where they are in real time. Heaven, though, still hasn't been found out just yet. It's up to Adder to push in aggressively. Dopai already fell, but the Nebula is going to stop them from fully pushing in and instantly dying. Is it worth going for the trade? Possibly, but all they find is a dink. Oh, they're debating about finding those exits. Who's going to chase them down? Spotted by the recon bolt.
At this point, it looks like they're all going to chase down.
Oh!
Gets a nice flash, but at that point, your flash, you know Carver's going to peek that. You can just spray and pray, and sure enough, going to be going down.
Yeah, and I think Cobra got flashed by their own pop flash as well, so they weren't able to go for that wide swing like they had hoped. Yeah, we have a Bucky from Mac. That could be interesting if they play near Brown Box on A or even in showers, but I don't think there's been a single round really where we've seen a full economic sweep from PHO, right? I don't think we've seen full rifle round in a long time.
No, this defending end from them has definitely been a little on the rougher side. Try to play it a bit more aggressively too, but Exterenity's not going to have any of that. We caught you out with the owl drone. We know you're there. You guys are all going down. Is Bobo left in lamps, not for long, and yet again, we're against the world. Echo with those sheriff spams right through, not even letting him gain any ground or try and pick up a gun.
Yeah, this, well, that round's over. Flawless win for Serenity again. For real, number 50 in North America, though. Struggling a lot here when it comes to the defensive side. We talked about one possible reason being that there's a lack of sentinels for both teams. Both teams playing really aggressive. And when you have an aggressive team not really respecting the utility from, or I guess kind of disrespecting the utility from the enemy team and not really playing around it or ignoring it, it can be really tough to find those kills. And for real, we haven't really seen a full retake either. It feels like it's a split push until the side that Serenity pushes kills them. And then the other side of the side that wasn't affected goes and tries to clean it up, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's not been, and not called out on B long, it means 2 can be slowly pushing up through this. Coburg does have the angle out onto site, and a third is going to be rotating from B here. Is for real trying to be holding this site down, trying to get another point on the board. No committance from Serenity yet. You can hear the orb though. You know there's at least one there. And gonna try and get that information, but there it is. Owl drone to at least call you out as the Seekers come out and instantly destroyed.
Seekers in response, still a default in play. Guiding Light doesn't find any util inside of showers, but look at this, a recon bolt all over side A. Still though, the rotate that we've come to know and love from Serenity has been called again. Only 2 defenders on side of A, both of which in U-Haul. Max playing off a one-way with the Nebula. Snakebite looking to stop a potential push. Showers though could be a different story with Dave on the other side on top of truck.
It's a great angle to try and catch someone out of showers. But look at this, right out. They're able to find one before being traded out. Here it is, Trinity again with this advantage as the Viper's Pit comes out. Mac putting in some mad work here to be trying to get into this retake. I think this might be the first time that For Real has had a numbers advantage into a retake. Berg and Showers can try and pinch them a little bit here as Mac just flirting around the outside of this Viper's Pit, trying to catch anyone out. Nick right there, someone popped out the other side of the smoke before hiding back in. Gave him the score, but look at this. For Real finally able to grab a round back from EX-SERENITY.
There we go. A little bit more team play, going for the retakes, really reading into the same rotate structure that EX-SERENITY has brought out almost every single round on their attack. For real, may have just found their golden ticket. Unfortunately for them, though, is that EX-SERENITY, or both Astras on the board, have the Cosmic Divide, and that could really change how the pacing of a post plant or even early round could go, and it's gonna be up to EX-SERENITY. The cards are in their favor to see whether or not their streak can continue once again with that Cosmic Divide, or if For Real can use all the ults in their possession here to really turn the tides again for another round and go for a retake. Setup, though, is aggressive towards B main. There is one inside Hookah, but the wide swing potential again, playing off the sky. Bobovo's waiting for the recon dart. This Viper's Pit coming down A short is so powerful, though. It's going to bisect everything to Showers.
Yeah, that is such a fantastic ult there, especially for a team that's really been pushing this A short. Two still out Showers, but Viper's Cloud making it a little bit more difficult, being able to have even more utility with that Nebula as well, as they're just keeping an eye on it. You know, people don't really want to be going into A short here. 3 still posted up on B though, but EX-SERENITY just chilling outside of A, just biding their time.
You can definitely see some camping near that P teleport. Oh, Gate Crash already comes down. That's going to go near spawn for the defenders. They're already prepped up for the rotate, but they want to see some face from Serenity to go onto the site before they go out. Trailblazer towards B doesn't see much, but the Cosmic Divide goes down on Dice. There's the execute!
Big Cosmic Divide pushing through. Almost finds one, being able to be taken down. Not able to fire back with the kill before being taken out with that. But look at that. Bobo good for 2. Put this into an even situation. A little bit difficult with the Cosmic Divide, but Showstopper to try and get a little weight.
Where'd they go?
God, no clue where they went. Fires it into the telly, you know. It was an educated guess. They did go that way. A little too late, though, as they're both on site, and Gibby's playing into a post plant now.
Guiding Light doesn't spot anybody. Stars going down galore. Everyone's playing for lineups inside of the attacking side towards Garden. For Real have to push up here. They have no other choice unless they can bait out the peak.
They can push out the peak. Bait out this util. Look, all the util right out of the gate. All they had to do was tap the bomb. You have an idea at least now what the Sova is, but look at that. Utility coming out, forced into the peak, and unable to be secure in the round.
I really like what Nick and company had done for that post plant there. They heard the Showstopper coming out. They didn't know it was from U-Hauls necessarily, but instead they played around with the Cosmic Divide that they had put down and went towards teleport, and nobody on For Real could hear that because they were on the other side of the Cosmic Divide. That allowed a huge moment of opportunity to go for the post plant, set themselves up accordingly, and having so much util for the post plant as well. But now Bovovo is the only one with a Phantom again. He is a duelist here. He could make some crazy amount of space. Oh, but this is looking like another default to an extent from the attackers.
Their default, and now Mac's going to be called out in Showers as well as the Seekers coming out to call even more out. But Bovovo, look at that. At least being able to take 1 out before being traded. You want to at least try and get 2 there, but, you know, at least good for 1. But EX-SERENITY back with the advantage here. Not too surprising considering the gun diff. Adder just backing up to, you know, rejoin the team. Almost have control of the site. There is the Viper wall, but not quite secure enough to be going for this plant. You know there's someone on each side of you here. Mac still lurking in the shower. On the other side there. And you know, it's a good time to go for B.
Good call to make again. A little bit of an overextension from For Real. They always think it's a full execute onto A. And you can't really blame For Real either. They've struggled when they've had a split push or a split retake. But now there's a potential one-way from Aiko to be set up towards CT. Perfect position to mow down anybody going up on that ramp for the defense. Oh, and there it is. Mac has no idea. The Viper's watching their angle right now, but they're able to sneak their way into elbow, and nobody on EX-SERENITY's watching it at all.
Oh, this could be devastating if Mac can be getting that pick, but going to go fast, make some noise. Good reason they weren't watching that. It was smoked off anyways. Going to be falling Echo being able to just hold the middle of the tube. Good for multiple to bring this to just one round away from tying this up.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, going for the footsteps wasn't the best option, but also, you know, you're also running out of time on the spike as well. It's not, you kind of have to give some, you have to take some. Setup again, though, looking more like a default for EX-SERENITY. Each one of these defaults have worked out really well, especially after For Real's tactical timeout. This has been the best course of action to really gain those points back, even when For Real looked like they were back on top. They are still on top by 1 round, almost a full rifle round, 2 light shields on the board as well. Recon bolt instantly destroyed, but player, he has some backup to help out for these wide swings.
A little bit of backup, but look at that cloudburst. So at least 9 angle for half a second, able to avoid the shock dart. So good job there, Berg. As you know, maybe not going to get too lucky here, as the owl drone finally going to call out, you know, there is someone lurking in this corner after all. But default means not committed to anything, so they can kind of test this waters and just, you know, going back up a little. Let's just go back to A.
When in doubt, there's always A, isn't there?
Oh. For real, or faux real at this point. Look at this. Getting caught out in showers here, but this is a tale that Adder has seen before. And at this point, the rest of the team can just go through A short. There is Kai chilling there in lamps, but player able to just push through, find 2 on site, create all of that space. Look, Bobo try and push through to try and deny anything. Player not gonna let anything go down. Look at that, 4 kills, only 1 left, and there it is, the ace from player to tie up this score.
Beautiful work from EX-SERENITY again. Goes to show how important it can be to have a jet on a map as well. That aggressive entry, not even much utility really needed, and just running and gunning, catching everybody on For Real off on their angles, not expecting to see an aggressive jet to come by. And For Real, they haven't really had much of a response. Problem is now is that they do have their eco round yet again, but they don't want to buy up here. If they were to buy up and go for a broken force buy, and they lose this next round, then they'd have to go for eco buy on match point against Serenity. So it makes sense not to do so just yet. Early Viper walls do go down though. A lot of conditioning towards Dice's side, but nobody's gone for it just yet.
Oh, look at this aggressive angle here with the shorty, but the toxic screen going down means Echo could just easily pick up that kill. No shorty shenanigans this time for you. Ash out. I'm going to be falling down. You know, one's behind the box. Actually, not for long. Going to be falling as well. EX-SERENITY definitely favored to be taking this round and doing a fantastic job of doing so. As yet again, spike planted. A difficult retake. For real, this is a story we've all heard.
As the casters say, time and time again.
The classic saying, the one that you don't want to fall into saying, but... I'm
going to name my cat time and time again.
Oh my gosh. Just say it. It's... Can't help but saying it when it's true. Look at this. Fantastic little flank here from Adder. Be putting us on a match point for EX-SERENITY. The team that, for the first half of this game, had a tough time finding their footing, but now just absolutely dominating.
Incredibly tough, but I do think EX-SERENITY has the edge over For Real right now because they do have that micro adaptability that For Real has, but just not as strong as, well, EX-SERENITY's attack. That being said, though, it's been one heck of a journey so far. We thought it was done and dusted when we saw the 10-2 half, but For Real, they've only gotten 1 defuse in this second half. It's been nearly a clean sweep back, and can only imagine what's going on For Real's side right now. They're spread apart again, trying to find a formula that works. Trailblazer on A side going through, finding some info, but look at Hookah. It's going to be Kohlberg by themselves. Oh, no, excuse me. They do have Yor to join with, but nobody's on the other side. Spike Wielder, though, inside of Market, may potentially catch up with them inside, but I don't think that's the case. They're going to meet up with the rest of their friends, or more likely than not, Sierra, what we've been seeing plenty of times already, is rotating to A.
It looks like it might actually, you know, potentially be a B this time, unless it's just a little fake before we go back to A. Laser will call one out. Dimensional drift as well. Be catching them out. Get this information. Look at that. Getting all the information. Blazer at least blind one, but here's the push up through B
Oh,
long. Normally that's been watched a little more carefully, but not this time around. Player though with the Blade Storm able to be getting two. Cosmic Divide coming down as well, make this even
left.
more of a difficult situation for Real to be able to fire back. It's gonna be a tough one. At this point, it's just the post plant, and they have fantastic angles to be doing that. There is gonna be a double Cosmic Divide. I feel like this
not
show's not
again.
supposed to be common, but we've been seeing it multiple times today. Now that they're both gone, a little bit more even footing, but time is running out. We'll have to make a move here to try and bring this into overtime, but the utility is just too strong. The line of sight not going to be able to do it against. I thought EX-SERENITY was done after this 10-2, but they're able to bring it back 13-11 to take the first map in this best of three.
What a beautiful, nearly flawless comeback from EX-SERENITY. Beautiful work to be seen through and through. Power of the Jet, not so power of the Yoru, but to Yoru's credit, Bobovo did get 18 and 18 overall. They were directly even. But a lot of that was kind of a lack of firepower, it felt like, from For Real's side. They were able to bunch together. The retakes were kind of split into two phases, and both of which went down fairly quickly against EX-SERENITY. But overall, it just felt like the utility usage was there, but the gunfights weren't so much.
And I feel like, too, just both teams just had an absolute field day over on attack. We saw For Real take a huge lead, but then back on the defending end weren't able to be clutching that up. So both teams very aggressive on the attacking end, not so much on the defense, and just a couple of little rounds. The 2 rounds that EX-SERENITY was able to get on the defense, putting in all that difference, allowing them to, secure that in a 13-11.
Absolutely. 13-11, that must be devastating for Real. They had done such a great job to get to the point where they were at going to the second half of 10-2, but I guess now they have to look, to the pastures, to the second map, see how that's going to go, right?
For sure. So the next map up is going to be Haven. I know that was a long match. I need a second to recharge.
Oh,
Check
yeah.
my little 7-Eleven app. And this is your opportunity to take a breather as well. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with map 2 in this best of 3.